Liz, great to have you here at Beyond Cinema Studios.
Thank you. Thank you.
First question, how did you know, what was the moment, what was the event, what was the experience that told you this was the next film?
So films come to us in so many different ways, right? There are those ones that we nurture for years and years, and then like suddenly they gain momentum and they come to life. There are those ones that are easier sells, and then there are ones that are kind of come to you, and all of a sudden it's like you're in this like very intense marriage and relationship with that subject and that film. This film was proposed to me, and it was one of those like, you had me at hello, love situations where, it later seemed like how could I not have been developing and work, on this film for the past 10 years? Like it spoke to me and the work that I've done over the years on so many different levels.
And how was it? Some big names came with this film to help you support it.
So the film, Radical Media, was approached by the estate of Nina Simone, who I think for a long time they've been really trying to figure out what was the right thing to do or to let happen about Nina. And they had thought about books and musicals and different things, and then finally they decided, a documentary. And so when they were ready to do that, they came to Radical Media, and then Radical Media brought me together with them. So that was a really wonderful, that's a little dreamlike situation when things come together like that on a film that means so much to you. And then together with Radical, we brought it to Netflix. And Netflix was just like in. They got it right away. And maybe to some people that's obvious, of course, Nina Simone. But other people didn't get it, but they just got it, and they have been so fully in from day one. They didn't pick it up at the festival. They didn't, kind of see a rough cut and came in. They came in at pitch, at the idea. So that was, it was a nice process.
The process. Nina Simone, what an amazing life, an amazing career, both public and private. How does one go about making decisions of what goes in and what goes out? As a director?
Yeah. Well, we started making this film, we started with archival. I wanted to try to, before we did any shooting, before we did any editing, what I did was we brought on a small archival team, and for about 4 or 5 months, we brought in everything we could find, and I watched everything that I could find about Nina, and that, what existed out there of Nina and by Nina and from Nina was what I wanted the film to kind of be based on. And then the question was, how do you put that together as a film? Early on, I had an idea that I knew Nina. She co-authored an autobiography with a writer, and I thought, he probably taped all those recordings. So I contacted him, and then I learned that in fact she'd been trying to write her autobiography with somebody else for many years. And then from archival, it was like trying to understand Nina. I talked to some people, and then there's just the like, she's a goddess, she's this, she's that, and then you talk to other people who have this very, very strong negative view of her. Talked about a lot of ugliness in her life and in her personality. Generally when you hear people talking about people like that, that there's something else going on. And then we were able to actually get into, through Nina's daughter, her letters and diaries. And so you could kind of understand what some people perceived as like hatred and difficulty was coming from this very profound self-hatred, this very difficult process she was going through. So, we started to peel back those layers. And then in the filmmaking process, it was about letting all that complexity out, let it out of the bag. Don't try to tie it up in a tiny little, with a bow and, make it all, she was very, at once she loved the piano, the next moment she hated the piano. At once she loved her husband, and the next moment he was her, the devil in her life. And all of those things that make us all human, but are often contradictory, were things we had to let kind of sing in the film along with her. Yeah.
You have a great knack of having the film really be of the people, by the subject. It's not sort of a glam piece. It's not a talky,
yeah,
third party kind of testimonials.
That's right, yeah.
How do you achieve that? What do you think are some of the ways that you...
Well, this was like starting from the archival, right? Then it was like, what I didn't want to do a whole bunch of interviews. I didn't want to make a talking heads film about Nina Simone. I wanted it to be, as much as possible from her voice. So then who are the intimates in her life that will help, that string together that narrative? And, we'll be criticized for leaving out songs. We'll be criticized for leaving out periods of her life. Oftentimes it was because she didn't really focus on them. And, in Bobby Fischer film, we left out about 15 years of his life. I don't see it as a biopic. I see it as an expression of their career and their struggles and their artistry. So, making those decisions, it was really like almost guided by her and her focus on the turning points in her life.
I think you really feel that, and that's what people are saying about the film. You really feel that.
Yeah.
I know I always learn from my films. I always learn from my subjects. I'm wondering what it's going so deep for so long with Nina Simone. Any things that...
Yeah, I mean, she's really, she was a working mother. You think of her as this, the high priestess of soul. Like, also, she was a working mother who went through, a lot of the same struggles that I feel like I go through with my children, and how you balance family and life and and work, and you keep that all together. That was a really interesting kind of point of connection that I didn't necessarily expect to find there in Nina. Her, because she was really suffering with undiagnosed mental illness, her experience as a mother was more challenging than had she had the help. But then it was the essence of what many of us feel. That was kind of a surprising revelation to me, because we know about her civil rights activism, we know about her musical genius, but also there was this family person there, and that was a large part of her struggle.
I love Nina Simone. I listen to her all the time. Has that changed after doing an entire film for you?
Oh my God, no. What I really hope in this film is that, like Nina, the music lovers, that you'll go back to the same songs that you've been knowing and singing, and you know all the words, and you go back to it with her story, and it means something new to you. Like, that to me is the gift, if I can give something, because that's what doing this film and knowing her and knowing the people that knew her has done for me, that those songs are so... Like, it's a 3D experience now for me to listen to her music, and I hope that we can give that to our viewers.
So, Nina Simone, what an iconic character. Now through your film, even more people know about her. Biopics, the big feature film version of her life. Who would you imagine playing her?
Adipero Odier. Adipero Odier is a young African-American actress who I've gotten to know and spent a little time with, and she actually got into acting because a university professor of her talked to her about her likeness to Nina Simone. And in fact, she's an incredible, incredible actress, and she would be an amazing Nina Simone.
In documentaries, we sort of bring to light people and places and events and things. You brought to light these incredible characters, some that we knew very well, like Marilyn Monroe, some perhaps not as much, Bobby Fischer, Nina Simone, perhaps somewhere in the middle, to deeper insight, more of an understanding. Where do you go from here? What's your next thing that you want to bring to the world, the next subject, the next film?
It's hard for me to figure out what follows Nina. Nina is everything. She's art, she's psychology, she's family, she's struggle, she's politics. It's hard. I don't know. I'm gonna meditate on that for a little while.
Cool. I think Elliot, anything I may have missed?
Do you want me into this?
What's wrong with it? You guys know what you're wrong. We have about 2 minutes.
No, I think that was good.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, and anything you protected from, like anything that you came across of Nina's that you decided not to put in the film because you wanted to protect her or her legacy?
You want me to answer? Okay. Nina was a very, very complex person, and I think nobody will accuse the film of being a hagiography. It's very complicated, and I think the difficulties that she presented to people and that she faced are both portrayed. But there are some out of this world stories about certain things Nina would do when she was high, or there's a story about her taking out a gun and shooting kids next door to her home in France, and because they're making too much noise, and stuff like this. It's like it's out there, you can Google it, but it's not actually the essence of her being, and it doesn't, I don't think, add too much to an understanding of her cultural relevance. So yeah, there were things that we just didn't put in there because as factoids they were a bit sensationalist, and I wanted you to understand Nina, her difficulties, her depths, but also appreciate her and love her the way I did.
And finally, the John Legend.
Yeah, I was going to ask. What a night last night! You had a legend there supporting a legend.
That was so cool. John Legend totally showed up for us, and it's just a testament to Nina. It's just a testament to her lasting cultural influence, and she's an artist who changed the musical landscape, but so few people really know and recognize that. She's like a Bob Dylan. She should be, I think, regarded in that canon. And I think there are folks like, you know, Lana Del Rey and, you know, John Legend and Erykah Badu. You know, there's so many artists who actually know that and appreciate it, and I'm so appreciative that they're showing up.
Liz, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Great to see
Thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Congratulations.